So I'm going to read a little more from this book of North American birds. So I left off on the red-shouldered hawk. It says, okay, so that one is immature and this one is adult. So I guess they're more white and spotty on the hill. And they're more on the east coast and in the south. And then a little bit in California. It says, red-shouldered hawks usually decorate their nests with sprigs of fresh green foliage. Recognition: 17 to 24 inches long, adult brownish and streaked above with rusty shoulder patch, barred with rusty below, with rusty below, tail with several light bands. Immature, mottled brown above, streaked and blotched below. Habitat: moist, deciduous forests and swamps. Nesting: nest is a deep cup of sticks and twigs, 20 to 60 feet above ground in a tree. Nest often decorated with green sprigs. Eggs 2 to 6, white with brown blotches. Incubation 28 days by both sexes. Young downy leave nest 5 to 6 weeks after hatching. Food: reptiles, frogs, small mammals, birds, and large insects. It's mud time, and the wooded New England hillsides ring with the cries of courting red-shouldered hawks. A male spirals skyward, climbing high over the treetops. His mate circles below. Suddenly he pitches forward, a screaming projectile whose looping flight traces a roller coaster route through the sky. Blue jays scream back insults and mimic cries. New England farmers who have seen this pageant many times stop their plowing and watch the display. Spring has returned to the land. The fidelity of red-shouldered hawks to their nest sites, and often to a specific nest, is well known. The stick nests are usually fitted into the crotch of a mature hardwood or sometimes a pine. They are sturdy structures made to last several seasons. But each spring brings alterations and new materials: fresh leaves, mosses, shredded bark, and a freshly trimmed sprig, apparently to proclaim occupancy. The diet of this woodland raptor is a hardy and varied one. Its hunting skills are most often focused on the cold-blooded creatures of the forest floor: lizards, toads, frogs, and particularly snakes. The red-shouldered is also adept at catching birds, as evidenced by the remains that surround its nest, and mammals up to the size of rabbits and squirrels appear to be on the menu too, only because the red-shouldered talons are small, is larger prey safely out of reach. Broad-winged hawk is immature and then adult. It's also on the East Coast and a little bit in Canada. The broadwing's swift, decisive attack gives its prey no warning and little hope for escape. Recognition: 13.5 to 19 inches long, adult plain brown above, barred with rusty below, tail with 2 light bands. Immature, brown with pale bars above, whitish below, and brown blotches and fine streaks. Habitat: deciduous forest. Nesting: nest is a mass of twigs 15 to 50 feet above ground in a tree. Eggs: 2 to 3, white, marked with brown and purple. Incubation: about 28 days by both sexes. Young downy, leave nest 6 weeks after hatching. Food: frogs, toads, reptiles, also small mammals, small birds, and insects. 1 minute, the September sky is empty except for a few fair weather clouds. Then it happens. A ribbon of birds materializes. They are so high. They look like grains of pepper sprinkled across the sky. The ribbon reaches the bottom of a cloud and frays into filaments, looping and knotting itself into a tangle. In some places they call this swirling mass of broad wings a kettle. Elsewhere it's a boil. By whatever name, the annual exodus of the broad-winged hawk is one of the great spectacles in nature. Most broad-winged flocks number in the hundreds, but when the mid-September pushes on, kettles run into the thousands. Migrating flocks cross the continent, then funnel down the land bridge of Central America to the tropical forests. Come March, the clouds of birds will once again boil out of the Mexican plains and swirl over the Rio Grande, tracing their path northward. This shy, almost docile raptor is hardly larger than a crow and specializes in cold-blooded prey, which is why it must vacate northern forests so early in the fall. From a favorite hunting perch near a stream or the woodland pond, the bird watches and waits. Then on silent wings it angles swiftly down on its target. A careless frog, a water snake, or perhaps a crayfish that ambles into the shallows, and the broad wings waiting clutches. F the baby one. Swainson's hawk is immature and adult. This one's on the west coast and a little bit in Canada. With few trees available on open plains, Swainson's hawks often nest on rocky ledges. Recognition: 19 to 22 inches long. Adult dark brown above, breast brown, belly pale, immature heavily streaked with brown, wings longer than tail when it's perched. All dark birds are common. Soars with wings held above horizontal, often seen in flocks. Habitat: grasslands and deserts. The farmer directs the mower through his field. Crickets and grasshoppers spring for safety as he passes. In the wake of the tractor, where the blades have passed and the grass is cropped short, a dozen russet-bibbed birds scramble and dance. Are they injured? Hardly. The birds are reaping the bounty of insects and small rodents exposed by the mower. The farmer does the work. The Swainson's hawk repays him for his kindness by consuming the creatures that consume his crops. Among the world's long-distance champions, Swainson's hawks nest as far north as Alaska and winter on the plains of Argentina. In March, Swainson's hawks by the thousands pour across the Rio Grande from Mexico into Texas. When evening comes, the great flocks descend. In the morning, when the sun begins drawing thermals aloft, the birds rise up, dozens, scores, hundreds, thousands of Swainsons funnel skyward. The swirling tornadoes of birds sweep north and fan out across the western states. As the miles and the days fall behind, the great migratory flocks diminish. One by one, the birds reach their nest sites across the western United States and Canada. The business of raising young consumes the summer. By August, the task is done, and the birds turn southward. Another exodus of these endurance champions has begun. Red-tailed hawk. This one is immature and then adult. This one is pretty much all in the United States and most of Canada. In the west, some dark-faced red-tailed hawks are a solid dark brown, except for the rusty tail. Recognition: 19 to 26 inches long, wingspan 4.5 feet, typical adult dark brown above, breast white, sides streaked, tail brick red, immature similar but tail brown and banded. All dark birds with reddish tails, common in the west. Habitat: plains, farmlands, deserts, and open woodlands. Nesting: nest is a solid mass of sticks and twigs 15 to 70 feet above ground in a tree. Eggs 1 to 5, white and sparsely marked with brown. Incubation: 28 to 32 days. Young downy leave nest about 45 days after hatching. Food: mainly voles and other mammals, also birds and large insects. From a forest snag, a sandstone cliff, a tall cactus, a fence post, or the skies over a Midwestern farm, the red-tailed hawk throws its challenge to the world. All across North America, people know this large, handsome raptor with a chestnut-colored tail. Farmers welcome it because, like the Swanson's hawk, it eats the rodents that eat their crops. People who feed songbirds in the winter have no need to worry. Most birds that come to feeders are small and agile enough to evade a burly beat-tail. Red-tailed hawks boast a range of plumages tailored to the peculiarities of different regions. Western red-tails tend to be darker than eastern birds. The underparts of western birds are warm and rufous, stained as if by western sunsets. Arizona red-tails are pale, their underparts bleached by desert sun, and prairie red-tails are paler still. Almost as distinctive as the red tail of a typical red-tailed hawk is the belly band, the dark swath of feathers that runs across the bird's underparts. Aside from its usefulness as a field mark, the belly band provides at least a modicum of camouflage. Without one to break up the bird's outline, a perched red tail would stand out like a beacon. This one is ferruginous hawk. Ferruginous hawk. It's on the east coast. No, not east. West coast. Ferruginous hawks usually pick nest sites that command a wide view of their surroundings. Recognition: 22 to 27 inches long, adult brown above with rusty streaks, white below with rusty thighs, tail whitish and rusty tinge near tip. Immatures and dark phase adults have whitish tail. Habitat: plains and dry mesas. Nesting: nest is a mass of sticks, twigs, and bones in top of a tall tree when available, otherwise on a cliff or pinnacle. Nests reused often become very large. Eggs 2 to 6, white or bluish, heavily spotted with brown. Incubation 28 days by both sexes. Young downy leave nest after 44 to 48 days. Food: rodents, rabbits, and hares. Regal: that describes this western raptor, standing beside its large stick nest or perched high atop some sandstone butte. The bird has all the bearings of an eagle. Unlike many birds of prey, the ferruginous hawk is not shy about sitting on the ground. It might alight on a hillside, even when elevated perches are handy. Takeoffs from the ground are lumbering procedures. Direct flight is a pushing, powerful motion, but when the morning sun draws warm air upward, a ferruginous hawk spreads its long, broad wings and soars. The bird may soar so high that the pale underparts disappear, and only the russet leggings that form a dark V remain visible against the sky. Ground squirrels and prairie dogs are its favorite prey, although animals the size of jackrabbits are not too large. Despite its strength and size, surprise is still this hawk's best ally. Flying low, navigating the contours of the land, the ferrug strives to catch prairie dogs away from the safety of their burrows. If it does, the race is on. As hunter and hunted speed for the dark opening, that means safety for one, failure for the other. If the hawk is alone, it's an even contest, but if two are working together, a common trick, the smart money is on the hunters every time. Rough-legged hawk. This one is mostly in the United States and then in Canada, north of north. In years when lemmings are abundant, rough legs can raise as many as 6 or 7 young. I like this picture. His face looks cute too. I know it's a bird of prey, but it's a cute face. Recognition: 19 to 24 inches long, dark brown above, head and breast sandy and streaked, belly blackish, tail with white base, underside of wing has black wrist patch, flies with wings slightly above horizontal, hovers frequently. Habitat: open areas and marshes, nests on Arctic tundra. Nesting: nest is a mass of twigs on a ledge. Eggs 2 to 7, white, variably blotched with brown. Incubation 28 to 31 days. Young downy leave nest about 41 days after hatching. Food: rodents and other small animals. During the long days of an Arctic summer, the rough-legged hawk hunts continually. Its rowing wing beats, propelling it over the treeless land like some Viking oarsman of the sky. At every movement on the tundra, it stops and hovers. Broad buteo wings arch up and down, holding the bird in place. The long neck moves from side to side. Suddenly the hawk plunges straight down, feathered legs extended. In a moment, the lemming is secured, and the hunter returns to its nest, where ravenous young will fight for their share, and more if they can get it. Roughlegs are circumpolar birds, breeding in the Arctic regions of Europe, Asia, and North America. They are also relatively nomadic, nesting wherever mice and lemmings abound. The same opportunism applies in winter, when roughlegs descend on marshes, meadows, and farmlands to the south. Sometimes scores of them mingle with other hawks and owls to feast on a surplus of mice or voles, but it is easy to pick out one out of the crowd. Just look for the hovering bird with long arching wings. Perched roughlegs are even easier to find. They tend to sit on the springy tips of trees, a difficult trick for most buteos, but no problem at all for this agile hunter from the far north. So I'll put a marker here. And then next time I read this book, I'll start there. So yeah, that was a little bit from North American birds. Hope it helped you fall asleep a little bit. And yeah, thank you for watching my videos and subscribing and liking and everything, commenting. Yeah. So thank you, and I hope that this helped you